Welcome to Timor Leste, a country which you often visited when you were our superior. It has been some years since your last visit here. What do you feel upon returning here?
Well, mainly two. On the one hand, I am very happy to be back and to meet old friends that I had met before and to listen to them. And on the other hand, the second feeling would be wonder, what has happened in between and how things are going, how is the society responding to new challenges, how is the country moving ahead. So it's a mixture of pleasure and interest in what is going on.
Timor-Leste is a newly independent democracy where our leaders and the people are trying to fix a direction and its identity. In this context, what roles and challenges do you see the Jesuit can contribute in Timor-Leste?
Well, I'm happy to see that one of the responses of the Jesuits goes in the right direction, which I think is education. For every country that is developing and moving ahead, education is the door to the future. I think a country like East Timor needs very much to prepare its people to have new dreams, move ahead, and at the same time, also there is a lot of need of healing. And I think, again, education can be a very good instrument for healing, so that we are not stuck with the past, but we can move ahead and move ahead with a healthy spirit. I think Christianity has a lot to offer there. As the Pope has said, the Church is very much like a hospital in a battlefield, and I think that would apply particularly to countries like East Timor that have gone through a very difficult battle, and now there is need of healing so that we can look at the future without hindrances and without looking back and licking our own wounds.
Why should a tiny country like Timor-Leste be a concern for the Society of Jesus?
Well, it's like Israel being a concern for God. God doesn't look at the volume of the country. He's thinking about the whole world, and anybody or any group or any country that can contribute to that good news, to healing, to new perspectives for the whole world are very good. And the fact that East Timor has a heart to respond to God's call, I think that's what makes East Timor very valuable. So it's not the size. Big size countries can produce more, but the question will always be, are they producing what the world needs, or are they producing something else for the other purposes? God doesn't look at what we are producing, but at the right thing to produce. So if God is interested in small groups, we also can be interested.
What advice do you have for a Jesuit scholastic like me and to the Jesuits of Timor-Leste region as we shape our plans for service to the people of Timor-Leste?
I would follow very much the line that the Pope followed when he challenged us Jesuits on the 3rd of January when he joined us for the Thanksgiving Mass for the canonization of Peter Faber. And he told us that one of the characteristics of Peter Faber that he would like the Jesuits to continue, because this is part of our vocation, is to have big dreams, to have big desires, and that's the way he put it. So it's big dreams for the world. We are not for ourselves, we are for others. And therefore, I would say my recommendation would be to continue to think big, to think about a new world, to think about new structures, new possibilities, new alternatives, because I think humanity can do much more, and then put ourselves at the service of this humanity. So therefore it's a question of educating our hearts. No? So how do we educate our heart to have this big vision that is going to help us? No? I wish the country be good at something, so that there is something, some peculiar color to East Timor that the world can learn from East Timor. No? Not just trying to catch up with the rest of the countries and do the same thing, but less, because we are small. But on the contrary, think of something peculiar of these people, the culture, the tradition, the experience even of the past, and how it is overcome. Something like Mandela has been for the world. No? He is one of the few leaders that I consider a real political leader. He's someone who cares for the country more than for himself. He's not worried about elections. He's worried about the reconciliation of a country and how to move forward with all the forces of the country. No? So this is, I think, the real vision of a politician, and that's what I would wish Timor would look up to. No? So what can we offer the world? How can we overcome the past and show the world how a country can reconcile itself? How can we move forward? How can we combine progress and tradition, deep values of our culture with the new values of exchange with a world that is being more and more globalized and so forth? And I think Timor has enough cultural variety to be able to show that it is possible to live together and create and be builders, not lamenters. No? So that's what I would like scholastics and young Jesuits to look forward to.
Is there anything else you want to add about Timor?
I think that's basically what I said right now. So East Timor has to think, what is our role in the world? No? Every person has a role in a family or in a community, and the same in the community of nations. What is the specific role of East Timor? So that East Timor doesn't think in terms of, oh, we are the poor little country there in a corner of Asia, but thinks positively in terms of what can we contribute to Asia. So I think that's a more positive thinking and more realistic, because Timor has peculiarities that are very worthwhile. For instance, every time I go to Africa, I am impressed by the ability of the African countries to keep values that are very traditional and very deeply human values, like relationships, family, honesty, fidelity to friendships and all that, values that maybe Europe has forgotten because they made a choice for economic progress, kind of technological advance and things like that, while Africa is keeping this remnant of humanity that I consider essential for happy human living. So Timor can think in those terms. And what can we contribute to the family of nations?